right, top 16, here we come, and it looks like we have Gavone versus AnotherHipster. AnotherHipster we see all the time for Team Mafia there in the LBR and LRA, and Gavone is a regular performer here in a lot of different tournaments, including the OLS that we regularly cast, and just never really been able to find that victory or second place for that matter. So we'll see if this is going to be the one where Gavone can go ahead and make it all the way and take home a victory. So without further ado, top 16 of the Road to SHURIMA qualifier number 1. Two players again, and we've gone through the top cut. There are so many great players now with Gavone and AnotherHipster. Whew, another great game in store. Let's head on over.
All right, Spectate got us in a little bit late here. Wasn't working previously, but now we are getting in on turn 3, and Gavone has established the Grand Plaza already. And that's going to do a lot of work in constantly picking apart the board of Hipster, who doesn't have that late-game assurance in the late drawers that we typically see, is trying to really play that board in the early game and eke out an early win.
All right, and 2 Aurelian Soul to get things started, too, so maybe a Disguised Descend come out, possibly, at some point. I don't know if that's really going to make a difference in this particular matchup, but I imagine AnotherHipster, again, the goal with GoHard, as per usual, just want to get into this kind of turbo mentality of let's get GoHard online as quickly as possible and start working our way towards that sweet, sweet pack your bags that we all know and love.
Do we love it?
I mean,
do you love pack your bags?
I mean, listen, I've said this before. What I do love about pack your bags is that sweet Evelyn animation if you're closing out the game with pack your bags. Like, it feels so good to play that, and then you get the Evelyn ult animation, and then the game's over. That feels really good. Man.
Hipster, is Hipster roping on your screen as well?
Yep, it always concerns me when that happens, so we'll see in just a minute if we have to refresh. It looks like we do have to refresh. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into the game here. Sorry about that, everybody. I feel like if we don't spectate for a while, it's kind of weird. Like, because we took a little bit of a break in between the top 32 and the top 16. If we don't spectate for a while, I feel like it generally will freeze up as we get going again into the spectate. All right, here we go. Back into the game. Turn 6 now. And looks like we have a lot of draw online, too. So now we have a glimpse and a salvage in hand. No Twisted Fate just yet. Oh. No Twisted Fate just yet, but still, I mean, really wide board. This would represent a decent-sized attack for the time being if AnotherHipster decides to go in. We even have Vengeance Bandit to fall back on. Not that, you know, Gavone's really going to be able to play much right now. That's going to be a good Vengeance target, but it is something to take into consideration if we do decide to be a little bit aggressive here.
And, I mean, while we did get the Plaza down, I haven't really been able to keep the board under control as Hipster is 6 wide. Okay, which go hard is this? This is the first go hard of the game, sitting at 0 out of 3, so still a decent amount of draw in Hipster's hand, you know, and we are picking off a unit. Might be able to get an okay amount of damage through here. I mean, this is not the most appealing meteor shower, but we are going to fire it off just to consolidate the board of Hipster a little bit, who only has one more unit that they can play for the time being until we get this Glimpse Beyond off.
Yeah, Glimpse Beyond feels really good here, as per usual, kind of negating some of that damage coming through from Meteor Shower and some more deckhands.
Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, double deckhand into Withering Will next turn. That's not too shabby, but I don't think it does enough. You know, even if you get the 2 kegs down, you're still not actually killing Golden Sister because they'll have 4 HP from the Plaza.
I mean, it looks like AnotherHipster's going to go for it, man. And,
yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Wants to get as many stats on board as possible.
Because, yeah, this sets you up for a wide attack this turn. Depending on what comes down next turn, you could have another wide attack next turn with Whale plus, you know, even Pool Shark coming down as well.
Ooh.
I do think... Oh, yeah, this is...
So a possibility for Chad is an open attack onto the keg and then playing either Golden Sister after the fact or, okay, just going to fire it off. And I mean, this is fine. You are still going to, as I had mentioned, have these survive because the Withering Wail is only going to deal 3, and that is sort of invalidated by the Grand Plaza. But that doesn't mean Golden Sister's only going to get one hit off.
Yeah, and here we go. This is...
Actually... Ooh, this is going to be a disaster if we single combat the keg.
Or even a Hush for that matter.
Because we don't have Glimpse Beyond mana.
Yeah, this Grand Plaza, first and foremost, really, messing with things here. Gonna kind of negate the whole idea behind this 3 damage whale. Both sisters are still gonna live through it. They will die after trading with both units on board here, but like you mentioned, single combat gets rid of the keg. Hush even gets rid of the keg. I think single combat's probably the way to go, considering that now we get 2 procs.
It is a really big life swing.
Yeah, that's 10 lifesteal there. Man.
And at 1 mana, there's nothing Hipster can do to pop the keg or prevent the lifesteal. So, I mean, pick your poison. Hush or single combat, I just think one of them needs to get played here, and I would prefer single.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we've seen this time and time again with this Grand Plaza Targon deck, right? Like, it has all these lifesteal units, namely Solari Sunforgers, who we usually see this with because it's only lifesteal for 1 turn. Then it has these additional activators for lifesteal in single combat and Concerted Strike, and actually opting to go for the Hush there, so definitely interesting.
So that means that the keg is actually going to survive into the next turn, which is sort of the problem with that line. It does leave you the single combat to deny a future Glimpse Beyond, and Hush really doesn't find a whole lot of value in this matchup other than taking the elusive off of Zaps or Burblefishes, but since you already have the elusive blocker, maybe something Gavone wasn't considering, and honestly, not too much of a difference between the 3 damage go hard and the 1 damage go hard here.
Yeah, I mean, if you were really worried about your opponent having lethal, maybe you would have been more inclined to play the single combat. Feels a little bad, I guess, too, because you just drew another one off the top. Maybe that would have been the better choice, but yeah, either way, I think we're pretty good to go here. But this go hard...
Is this the single on the keg?
This might be. I mean, this also... This allows the Golden Sister to survive again, which is... I mean, man... That's going to feel bad for another Hipster. Twice now we've tried killing this thing.
I think it's going to feel really bad for Gavone if he uses the single combat here, though, because it effectively means that your Hush was wasted. Or rather, traded for an inefficient go-hard that I imagine Hipster would have just thrown at the Silver Sister anyway. So, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the Hush does work out a little bit in that, in a roundabout way, it is preserving the life of the Silver Sister.
Yeah, and you didn't really get an additional card out of another Hipster is the problem, though. Like Gohard's still going to shuffle, and we don't really care about Gohard not doing its thing on the field. So, yeah, it is going to feel bad that you use the Hush. It's basically 1 card down and card advantage there, but I don't know. We're still in a pretty good spot.
It is. I think the bigger consideration here is, like, as I had mentioned in a roundabout way, you saved the Silver Sister, but now you are at a mana point where you can't actually play anything else this turn.
Yeah, that's really awkward. Having that as 7
probably
mana Eclipse feels really bad too.
I think it's probably going to have to actually be Pale Cascade the Golden Sister and block the Spiderling.
Ugh. Yuck.
Right? Like, it is the most efficient use of the mana and the cards that you have.
Yuck.
I'm not sure if it's correct, but Gavone at least going to take the same line and draw the 3rd Aurelian Soul, which is certainly not ideal.
I mean, it could be. I mean, we're going into a turn... Well, actually, this is actually turn 8. That feels kind of bad.
Yeah, so if you had single combated the keg the previous turn, this turn would have been a pretty clean-cut, Daybreak Eclipse Dragon, and the Aurelian Souls would be down, and...
All right, well, turn 9, the Solari Soldier feels good because it's a very easy Daybreak activator for the Eclipse Dragon, so that kind of bailed Gavone out there a little bit. And now we just go into a clean turn 10 with Aurelian Soul. And at this point, I don't think we really have a choice but to play turn 10 Aurelian Soul. Just is what it is. So let's see what Salvage gets us, though. Another go hard. And we're pretty close to pack your bags now. This is going to be the 3rd one, I believe.
Yep. Pack is about to be online, and While this Golden Sister has gotten off a lot of lifesteal, even if we do use the single combat here, I don't know if it's enough to really keep Gavone in this game. Really hasn't been able to keep Hipster's board under control at all. At the very least, we'll still get the lifesteal here. But I don't know. Hipster's position still feels fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, Gavone hasn't really been able to put any pressure onto AnotherHipster, really. We've just been surviving.
Actually, you know, maybe it's worse for Hipster than I'm making it out to be. You are going to lose 2 units here. Pack will not kill that Eclipse Dragon. Aurelion Soul is coming down next turn, and even with the 5 damage from the pack, you're only putting Chad at 14. You don't have that Ladros, as we had mentioned. I think it's really going to depend on how many Burblefish Hipster can find relatively soon.
Wow. Wow, we're hinging a game on Burblefish?
I mean, when that's your top end.
I mean, yeah, and we're losing this Withering Whale. That was fleeting, too. We weren't even able to really utilize all the fleeting draws. We got a Glimpse and a Salvage, so that's one thing this deck can do is find plenty of card advantage after the fact. There goes a Burblefish. And a Vengeance, which might be a big deal.
All right, there's a Burblefish, though.
Where's counterfeit copies when you need it, baby?
Shut up.
Hey, we saw that happen, all right? Counterfeit on Wiggly Burblefish doesn't seem too bad.
Oh, Ye Be Warned isn't nothing either.
No. And Immortal Fire, Scourge, and Living Legends for Gavone. I mean, you got a lot of Aurelion Soul. I think, all right, we're actually going to go with Scourge. I mean, I was going to say Living Legends might be a consideration. We have a Destroyer as well. Very on our way towards leveling up this Aurelion Soul at some point.
And I think this is really the cards that Hipster was looking for this turn. You know, finds the pack, finds the Burblefish, finds a Jagged Butcher as well. So not going to have any lack of units here once the pack resolves. Chad going to have 2 units living after that. But it still does set up for the Vengeance on the Aurelion Soul on the next turn because this pack is going to pop the Spell Shield.
That is... We could even pop it... Oh, yeah, there's no reason to pop it with EB Warren because of the pack. We did just burn a Vengeance, though, with Salvage. And the thing to take into consideration is that Gavone does have 2 more... excuse me, Aurelion Souls. So I don't know how much that actually does for AnotherHipster if we just drop another Aurelion Soul on the board. Now, that is a big mana commitment, and that is something that Gavone's going to have to worry about is do we just get overwhelmed with a wide board of units coming in for lethal at that point?
So there's the pack that's going to pop the Spell Shield, set this Eclipse down to 2 HP, and Hipster probably going to be able to throw down this Jagged Butcher now that the Plunder has been activated. Yep. And we're looking at, I think, 6 damage coming through from Hipster, which honestly, not that much for a post-bag attack.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I mean, we're going to be able to... Okay, that maximizes damage, but I do think you want to utilize that Ye Warned. There we go. I'm surprised we're not playing around Pale, actually. Pulling with the Jagged Butcher there, but I mean, we're not going to get punished for it, so I don't think it's too big of a deal. That is still going to push 6 damage. So that puts Gavone at 8. We have the Vengeance, like you mentioned, for something like this Aurelion Soul next turn. Ooh, Twisted Fate going to be pretty useful as well. We've used a lot. Okay, I was just going to say we used a lot of draw, so I'm not sure how quickly we can level the TF, but Salvage ripped right after the TF off the top. That'll help get you there.
Ooh, Golden Sister, the start of round invoke from the Aurelion Soul. That is massive for Gavone.
Yep.
But they do find themselves in this awkward position where they can only play 1 unit a turn.
Yeah, even the Screeching Dragon, just a little awkward. Like 5 and 6 is 11. You're just 1 mana short. See that math skill? I told you I'm good at math. We're just 1 mana short of being able to get down both. But this does so much, though. I mean, it inches us that much closer towards an Aurelion Soul level up. We do see it's probably going to die to Vengeance, but again, we have 2 more in our hand. I think that is going to be the ultimate goal. And if we can keep this Golden Sister on the board, wow, it's going to do a lot of work to keep Gavone in the game.
Honestly, I think that for Hipster right now, the Golden Sister is a more appealing Vengeance target than the Aurelion Soul. just trying to go wide on board next turn. But if you Vengeance the Golden Sister here, and you go for any kind of development next turn, that Aurelion Sol's Skies Descend is going to break your back.
Yeah, and not choosing to Vengeance the Golden Sister just yet, or the Aurelion Soul. We could do it in the middle of combat here. I'm sure we just throw the Pool Shark. All right, no, we actually are going to go for the Vengeance onto the Aurelion Soul. I was going to say throw the Pool Shark under it, and if we do decide to do it on the Golden Sister, like you mentioned, seems okay. And going back and forth here, what do we do? I really do like the Golden Sister Boulevard. I got to agree with you. I mean, getting rid of any lifesteal at this point, I think, is the only way another hipster wins this game, because the long game, I don't think, is something that another hipster can take.
Yeah, and I actually do really like the way that Chad is Gavone rather is lined up the attacks this turn, making sure that the Silver Sister is the one pulling the Zap Sprayfin, because if you had, done something as simple as just challenging these in the other order, I think the Vengeance would almost even be a snap decision onto the Golden Sister, preventing that lifesteal and saving your elusive unit. But in the end, hipster does decide that Aurelion Soul is the most significant threat.
Yeah, I just don't see hipster being able to just survive throughout the next few turns of just the super late game. Like, look at the hand of Gavone. Like, look how many cards we have. It's ridiculous.
But look at this. Look at the level up coming out of the Twisted Fate on the next turn.
That's gonna be nice. Yeah, we're at 0 right now.
But actually goes for the red card to set the Golden Sister up for the Go Hard. And honestly, I could see Gavone star shaping his Golden Sister in response to this Go Hard.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, as you mentioned, if we do get the TF level up, it was at 4, 5, 6, 7. We're one draw off of being able to level up the Twisted Fate next turn. If we use the Go Hard, we can't actually do that because we'd have to shuffle in one of our draws.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work out anyway, because Gavone does have down, this Grand Plaza. You could even preemptively hush the Twisted Fate to prevent that extra draw level up, play a unit, and then go from there. But honestly, I really like the star shaping onto the Golden Sister, but no, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. At the end of the day, you actually probably are getting more value healing-wise out of actually just using the star shaping on your face. And getting down 2 units this turn, that is a very appealing option for Gavone as well.
All right. We'll see if we... I kind of just like the good old Betty Croker here onto the Pool Shark and just kind of go into the next turn banking 3 spell mana, but nope. Gonna go for the salvage first. Burning 2 Go Hard. That's never good to look at. Oof. That just stabs right in the heart.
We don't have a whole lot of Go Hards. We've tossed, at least from what I've been able to track, at least 3 of them.
Yeah, but you know what? We got 9 cards in deck. All we need is 1. That's true. And we have so little amount of cards in deck, and honestly, we have 2 pick a card now. We could literally just draw the rest of our deck next turn if we wanted to, right? So, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
But we got to start drawing them like yesterday if we really are going to stay in this, because right now we've only played 1 pack your bags, and the fact that we've only played 1 pack with 8 cards left in deck is a little concerning.
And honestly, at this stage of the game, the packs aren't really clearing the board anymore. And I think that as long as Gavone can keep the elusives under control, just needs to push through a little bit of damage this turn, maybe even next turn, and then just set up for a Great Beyond Lethal. Which, honestly, have we even seen a Great Beyond Lethal today?
No, that's what I'm saying. Boulevard. Like, it's so weird to me. If anything, Destroyer is usually the one that we're seeing, and Great Beyond, not so much. I mean, and I think, we see Wiggly Burblefish as an example in this Go Hard deck. That even something like that could have been a consideration for Wiggly Burblefish. That's just another elusive blocker that would potentially shut down the Great Beyond. And I think that's why we're starting to see Great Beyond get picked a little bit less, because there are actually now elusive blockers generally on the field.
So Gavone goes for this Sunforger, which is a little awkward because the only thing that you have mana left to do this turn is star shaping, but you actually wouldn't be efficiently using the heal if you throw down the star shaping after you get off an attack with this Sunforger. Did we just shuffle back the pick a card with the TF?
I believe
or with the pick a
so,
card rather.
yeah.
Because I thought we were going to pull the Twiz trick where we pick a card, let our TF get challenged this turn, and then play TF number 2 post-combat. But instead, just getting those back in deck. I think that with 9 cards in deck, it's really hard to level a Twisted Fate.
Yeah.
And I think that might be what Hipster was going for.
Yeah, so I don't hate that per se, but this is going to do 4 damage onto Hipster. The board just growing on the side of Gavone. Honestly, 100% in control of this game. Still sitting pretty at 18 health versus a Go Hard deck. I mean, he's done such a great job of just utilizing every lifesteal unit in this deck, and that's one of the things with Grand Plaza, Targon Grand Plaza. Like, there's just so many ways to heal. It's absolutely insane, and no matter how much damage another Hipster continues to put through, it's just not enough.
Does Hipster have enough units in deck to win the game?
Does he need units? He can just pack your bags, right?
A 1-pack's not going to do it.
No, we need a lot.
I don't even know if 2-packs are going to do it. And eventually, you are going to get into a point where your top deck is Go Hard, and that means you're packing bags every 4 turns.
Yeah.
You need unit damage pushed through.
Or draws, or just a lot of draw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we have pack this turn now. We have 2 more Go Hards in hand. One will be the third. The other will turn into the pack. We have plenty of mana for it. We even have enough mana, I believe, to play, pack, Go Hard, and Doom Beast, which is fleeting, so we're definitely going to want to utilize that Doom Beast. This will clear the board of Gavone as well. And really the only unit... And it's really because we set up the board to be cleared, so that's definitely good for another Hipster. But the only unit we can really get down is either, again, we're in a spot where we can only play 1 unit. It's either going to be Aurelion Soul or the Destroyer. I don't really know if the Scourge is going to be an option.
I think Hipster has to win this turn.
You think so?
And I don't know if that's happening.
If we play Pack Your Bags, there's always Star Shaping to fall back on. With Mountain Scryer, we could play Mountain Scryer and Destroyer.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but since the Mountain Scryer dies to the pack, it's kind of whatever.
Great. All right, so here's a Great Beyond finally. Ooh, Cosmic Inspiration.
Cosmic Inspiration basically ends the game.
Wow.
Too many units are going to survive the Pack Your Bags.
Wow, what a pull from Star Shaping, baby.
I remember when Go Hard was starting to pick up popularity, I was still very much on the Invoke train, and a lot of the games that I played came down to if I could rip an early Cosmic Inspiration, because it just made Pack Your Bags so much more inefficient against me. And it looks like Gavone has found a similar strategy. I mean, Pack once again putting him at 14. That is not where you want your opponent's life total to be at post-Pack, and now are just going in with the Zap Spray Fin.
Man, I remember not too long ago we were just talking about what the best spell in the game was. And you had made a case for Cosmic Inspiration for this exact reason. I mean, the card is so good. And now anything else we play, too, is going to be so ginormous. This Scryer is not quite out of the range of Pack Your Bags, but still much more healthy unit than usual. We even have some removal now in the Meteor Shower that will start to clear out some of this board. So things really looking good for Gavone now. I don't see a way that another Hipster gets back into this. We do have red card for TF, which clears out most of the field for now, which is going to feel good. And we have Glimpse Beyond for some draw to get to another Pack Your Bags.
Remember when we used to say that Cosmic Inspiration basically ends the game?
Yep.
Cosmic Inspiration in Grand Plaza almost certainly ends the game.
Yep.
Just having that combination, I mean, it's not lethal damage getting pushed through by Gavone here, but I don't think he's taking too much more unit damage. And I think...
I mean, it's
so
going to be close.
There is a chance, and I think this is Hipster's best chance, but honestly, I'm not even sure if this works out. If the next 4 draws are all Go Hard.
Well, here's 2. It's a Burblefish. That's basically a Go Hard.
That might be a Go Hard.
Wait, the
Burblefish I think is actually not great here, and well, Hipster gets to go for the open attack, so it is actually pretty good in all fairness. But that's just a prime Meteor Shower target.
It's funny too. I saw Burblefish. I like immediately think that it just pulls a go hard from the deck because I'm used to Zap Spray Fin. Nope, that's just to drain life instead.
I mean, if that Burblefish had made a go hard, I think Hipster won. But because that didn't happen, I don't think this open attack is strong enough. And because you don't have the capability to pack bags this turn, I'm pretty sure Destroyer just takes this on the crackback.
Yeah. Yeah, this 3, 4, 5, that's only, you know, we're putting Gavone down to 6 now. Even if we had that pack your bags, we're still not in a position, I think, to close out the game. Yeah. So this does look like Gavone's going to be able to take... Jesus, this was just game 1. This was a very long game 1 to start this series off between Gavone and AnotherHipster. Again, two very experienced players that have seen plenty of top cuts previously, and you can tell.
Ooh. Hold on. So, no, that never works. Okay.
I heard you say ooh, and I'm like, whoa. I don't think
I was trying to think. I was trying to think if there is a way, because if both players were to pass here, if Hipster were to end the turn without playing any copies of Go Hard, and Gavone went for an open attack, he actually wouldn't have lethal.
Because of the drain.
Because a Pool Shark block puts you at 11, and then the Absorb Soul would be enough to survive at 1, but in that case, Hipster still doesn't have lethal on the crackback and would be so far away from a pack if we just discarded these Go Hards that it was never really aligned to come back into this. Now we are going to get the Absorb Soul, though, because, I mean, we might as well. And that does mean that Gavone should feel pretty safe to do whatever they need to do next turn. I mean, Hipster is only drawing 1 card.
Yeah, I think
so. I think as long as you just throw down this Solari Soldier, you've guaranteed got it on the open.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's anything AnotherHipster could draw. It's honestly pretty likely at this point that AnotherHipster draws a Go Hard as well, so it's going to be a whole lot of nothing.
It's very possible that the only cards left in deck are Go Hards.
Okay, well, apparently there's still a TF left in there.
Okay.
And yeah, that is going to do it. The Shen emote for the GG. And Gavone taking game 1 there. A very long game 1 over AnotherHipster. Oh, man. These top 16, these top 8, top 4, these just matches are going to get better and better and better as the night continues on here. So, got a lot of Legends of Runeterra action still.
Actually, something that I wanted to check on is whether or not Dyna is still in contention to win both EU and NA.
That's a good point. What do we have, Boulevard? I don't think so.
No, Dyna actually lost the first round of the Swiss top cut. So Dyna not in contention to run it back to back. But I mean, obviously, still big ups to him for picking up the EU win.
Yeah, the fact that he even made it this far anyways is a pretty awesome feat, awesome accomplishment. So congrats to Dyna again for winning EU a little bit earlier today. But we do still have Gavone and AnotherHipster both in contention for the title here. We'll see who's able to at least advance to the top 8 for the time being.
All right, Shen Fiora versus Twiz. I feel like there are a lot of in-meta decks that we just haven't seen play against Twiz yet.
Yeah, actually, this would be one of them, right? All day, we've really yet to see Fiora Shen, like at all. I think actually, is this the first time we've seen it today?
That sounds very correct to me.
So, and definitely haven't seen it against Twiz yet. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see if Fiora Shen's able to take it. Honestly, I don't know. There's a lot of challenger units, so that's definitely going to benefit the Fiora Shen player, I think. The Wiggly Burblefish aren't exactly easily killed by something like Fiora. I mean, there is going to need to be some sort of barrier or buff to be able to make that trade. But I guess the other consideration, and this is one of the reasons I feel that the Twiz deck does so good versus something like Zoe Lee Sin. Lee Sin, plenty of barriers on that bad boy, right? But easily level TF, gold card, red card, constantly able to get rid of those barriers and pick off stronger units.
Granted, if I'm correct, that Riposte in Hipster's hand is another Fiora?
Yes.
Because I think this Fiora is not long for this world. I'm imagining if you go in for a challenge, there's a Mystic Shot coming out, that forces out your Sharp Sight, and then the Twisted Fate can either kill the next Fiora, or you can riposte to save it. Probably just let it die and replay the Fiora. I don't know how much you actually care about saving a 1 out of 2 Fiora that is already damaged, but Gavone just going to keep up the Ballistic Bot pressure, firing off another Ignition, reducing the cost of the Burblefish again.
Yeah, great synergy there between Ballistic Bot and Burblefish. I don't know if it was, I think it was Bard actually yesterday that asked me if I like Ballistic Bot and Draven Ezreal. I'm actually not crazy about Ballistic Bot and Draven Ezreal. I mean, it works, but I think there would be better options in the future. But in this deck in particular, because of the synergy with Burblefish, I think it's an absolutely perfect addition.
I do just want to point out that I got the bug where Twisted Fate returned to hand.
Ah, yeah. Yep.
So that TF in Chad's hand that's not turning into a pick a card, that's because it's actually on the field.
Yep, top right. That is not an additional
one.
Oh, there it goes.
I imagine... Oh, it gets hidden by the Ignition.
Yep.
It's actually still in the hand. It's just behind Ignition.
I think that's only a Twisted Fate bug right now, I think. It feels like it always happens with Twisted Fate.
He's scared.
He's
much safer in the hand.
Yeah, he's trying to hide to get that level up. Like, I get it. And right now, 1 out of 8. You're done. You're done. Another hipster. What did you do? You let him get to 1. It's over. Actually, we do have a pick a card and a rummage. Never mind, we got it. Like, when does this deck ever not have the Twisted Fate level up? I think the answer is that's never the case. It just always is able to level him up instantly.
I mean, I guess against Shen Fiora.
I guess. Oh, man. And
that said, though, I mean, like, it looks like Hipster's in a pretty good spot right now, all things considered, but pretty soon we're going to have a turn that looks like play a Burblefish, double iterative, play 2 more Burblefish, and that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, and honestly, seeing another Hipster's hand, well, we do have a Sharp Sight to block. Okay, interesting.
Oh.
Interesting.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
For going the triple Burble plan and instead pulling out the 5/6, so this is going to force Hipster to either Sharp Sight, sacrifice a Challenger, or sacrifice Shen. And I think, I mean, it's hard, right? Because Sharp Sight is your answer to elusives for the most part, but honestly, seeing an iterative fired off on a non-elusive, maybe Hipster is going to feel a little bit safer to throw that out, especially with Gavone being tapped out.
I mean, does that make you feel safer just seeing one iterative? There's so many elusive
maybe
threats.
I mean, so the other option for Hipster is you actually... Okay, just not going in with the Shen. I was going to say the other option is actually that you challenge the Ballistic Bot with the Screeching Dragon and then Sharp Sight the Shen when the Screeching goes to block it.
Yeah, and I think that this is what I was getting at earlier. I think that the Fiora win condition is actually very difficult for Fiora Shen to pull off. If not because of what we just saw there with that combat, there's so much removal. Like, we even have Mystic Shots and Get Excited and all this stuff to just remove the Fiora really at will whenever we want to. So any tools that are invested into this Fiora to try to go towards that Fiora win con, I think, are just going to be all for naught and just going to eventually get shot down by something like a Mystic Shot. But another Ignition, slowly but surely chipping away with those Ignitions, reducing the cost of Burblefish.
Yeah, and I think with that Ignition, now Chad is in a position where they can Burble, iterative Burble, if they want to. I'm not sure how good of a play that actually is.
Like, if I was somebody that has no idea what Legends of Runeterra was, and I just heard the sentence that you just spoke, I'd be like, what is this kid talking about? Like,
that is actually going to be my new pickup line on Tinder. When I slide into your DMs, the first thing I'm going to say is, what's up, girl? You want to see me burble, iterative burble?
I'm going to burble your burble.
I got a school of Burblefish coming in hot.
It's like we're speaking another language here. Jesus.
We are. Oh. This could be bad for Gavone. Oh, never mind. The Fiora is actually at 0 out of 2. I forgot. For some reason, I thought she was at 1 out of 2, and I thought the Concerted was going to be able to kill the Ballistic Bot, level the Fiora, get a River Shaper draw, dodge the Mystic. I thought it was going to be all that in a bag of chips, but the Fiora sitting at 0 out of 2 does mean that we can use a spell to save her.
All right.
If we really want to.
I don't. Yeah, we could use Sharp Sight, but again, the consideration is keeping Sharp Sight for those elusives, right? So, and Concerted actually onto the Screeching Dragon doesn't feel terrible, but I don't know if I like that.
It's interesting that we went Shen Screeching rather than River Shaper Screeching, just to guarantee the kill onto the Screeching in case of a second Mystic Shot.
I mean, if you see one Mystic Shot down, the chances go drastically down that there's going to be a second one in hand. I would have liked to have seen the River Shaper, because we don't exactly have the most cards in hand for another Hipster either, right?
Yeah. So, Gavone attacks with Ballistic Bot here, right?
Yeah.
I think you'd be fine trading it with either the Shen or the Screeching.
Yeah, 100%. And you've already gotten plenty of use out of it. I mean, how many ignitions have we got now? I think all 4 damage has been ignitions, right? And now we know too. I mean, it's very important that another Hipster has tapped out of mana here, because you are absolutely A-okay to attack with elusive units outside of Sharpsight. Now, we do see 2 Sharpsight in another Hipster's hand, so that is kind of like the, pull in case of emergency or break in case of emergency switch there. If there is a wide board of elusives at some point.
I love the small mix-up that you did there in the break in case of emergency switch. Like there's a button that you're supposed to push, and you're supposed to push it with a hammer in case there's an emergency.
Break that switch in half. I'm glad. It's funny. Sometimes when I make those little tiny slip-ups, I don't think... I'm like, I wonder if anybody noticed. Of course, Boulevard notices.
I am observant.
Oh, man. All right.
I'm trying to figure out if this is actually... Like who this is a good position for, because I don't think we'll know until Chad or Gavone actually fires off the pick a card whether or not this is a good spot for him. But when my opponent has 2 River Shaper, he's coming in, drawing 2 spells, and then we have 2 Sharpsight to be able to block with that 2 River Shaper again. That seems really, really good for Hipster.
I mean, it does. I mean, River Shaper in general, if you're getting multiple strikes off with River Shaper as a Fiora Shen player, it's just so damn hard to beat. Like, it's just one of the best things to happen for the deck and in the game, to be honest with you. It's one of the reasons why this deck is so good with River Shaper. And we have Nyandroid, I feel like, is probably at a disadvantage in this matchup for that reason, because of Sharpsight. You're never really going to get a big Nyandroid hit in, so I don't know if we really like that draw there. But Fizz as well. Fizz super useless against Sharpsight, it feels like, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to prevent single combat and things like that, but as you had mentioned, the Sharpsight is still a big issue.
Well, we'll see if he is able to get any work done with Fizz. We do have a Mind Meld as well. So the good thing about Mind Meld would be that even if there are Sharpsights that come down, the Sharpsights would then not really get any value. Well, of course, if they're used on the River Shaper, they would trade evenly, but at least prevents all of the elusive units from dying on the side of Gavone, and then would at least allow for another follow-up elusive attack, right?
Yeah, I think this is basically going to be a disaster turn for Gavone. Yep. Double Sharpsight as well as the Deny, or even Concerted if we want to, is just going to be entirely too much, and we're just going to toss away the Mind Meld because it is fleeting and we do not have mana for it. Instead, just going wide with as many elusives as possible. And I think Gavone's game plan for now has to be, how many cancel spells can I get out of my opponent on these removal, like this MK2, and try to make way for burn.
Yeah, I mean, MK, again, just coming in almost every time we've seen this deck, this card ends up getting randomly generated. It feels really good. Even right here, there's the possibility maybe you throw an MK onto the River Shaper and we get the Sharpsight in response. I don't really know how much that matters. I imagine another Hipster too. I don't think you have to try to trade with the 3 attack units. So whatever these River Shapers block with the Sharpsight is almost always probably going to get MK2'd here. And then we'll still have the 2 Pool Sharks to draw into another big turn next turn. So I think Gavone still has a chance to close this one out. It's going to be hard. I mean, we could basically only take 2 damage here from another Hipster if we wanted, right?
Yeah. And I think that 7 is a really high number for Gavone to try and burn Hipster out from, especially with 2 additional draws coming out of these River Shapers. Also, I checked the math. I ran the numbers. I know that when you play Burblefish and Go Hard, you have a 10% chance of hitting Go Hard, as there are 10 one-cost spells between Shadow Isle and Bilgewater. There are also 10 one-cost spells between Piltover and Zaun and Bilgewater.
I think I looked at it with Bard. I thought there was only 7.
Are you on Mobile Analytics?
Yeah, I can name them.
Yeah, what are they? There's
Counterfeit Copies, MK1, Jailbreak, Jettison, Jury Rig, Mushroom Cloud, Parlay, Rummage, Shakedown, EB Warned.
maybe I just can't. Wait, is that 9 then?
That's
No,
10.
I probably just can't count.
There are like 8 in Demacia,
Yep.
7 in Freljord. So it's not a 10 overlap across the board, but it is between the two decks that play Purplish.
Yeah, I probably just can't count. It's fine. That's typical. That's typical. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna get 9. Another sharp sight drawn too, and yeah, these river shapers are just absolutely gonna start blowing things out here. The Spirit's Refuge, also another huge pickup for another hipster, especially alongside something like single combat and sharp sight. You know, we're going into a turn now where we block with whatever we want. Throw Spirit's Refuge onto it. Single combat, you get 2 procs of the lifesteal, as well as if we put it on a river shaper, that's going to feel good. So, yeah, things definitely looking up for another hipster now. I don't know if Chad's going to be able to close out the game anymore.
What are you iterative improvement? Is it Pool Shark? Is it River Shaper? Is it Daring Poro?
I mean, now that 2 sharp sights are out of the way, I think you do try to go for... I think you try to go for more elusives. I mean, there's really not much else you can do. Although draw does feel nice. You know, again, I gotta... the Twisted Fate, I mentioned this at the beginning of the game. Twisted Fate can very easily deal with a lot of what's happening right now from another hipster. We've never actually been able to get a Twisted Fate to stick this game and level up, which feels really bad. I knew we drew 1 earlier, right? But it just never stuck to the field. So here's the MK. See if it's able to pick off the Fiora. The only way to really save the Fiora would be to sharp sight, it looks like. We could actually deny the MK as well, but okay. Gonna use Spirit's Refuge here. I don't mind this because then this leaves us the capability, if we want, to actually play single combat with her as well and get some double procs of this lifesteal off.
Yeah, and even then, we still have the sharp sight to protect against.
Yeah, and deny.
I guess the
even deny on something like the Get Excited, right? Like, yeah, we still have deny right here. We can just play the deny.
Oh man, yeah, this one's looking over. But Twiz, you know, it's a deck that is resilient, and we are gonna go to a game 3 if Hipster does pick up the pretty inevitable looking win here.
Yeah.
So, still gonna have a little bit more action. And Hipster is going to have to run back their Ezreal Draven. Or no, their Gohard, rather.
Yeah, I actually really like the sharp sight there, too. This still... Actually, yeah. This still leaves single combat on the table because Fiora will level, go up to 2 health, and we can still single combat a unit and let this Fiora live. If we want. If we're really worried about our health, I mean, why not, right? But yeah, Gavone just going to go ahead, throw in the towel there. That is going to be game 2. Going to another hipster. Game 3 coming up.
Both these players going to retreat to their corners, get the pep talk that they need, and come out swinging in game number 3. So Twiz versus Gohard. Once again, another matchup. We have not seen that often. I know we talked about how Twiz is popular, but we really have only seen it play against Targon decks for the most part in the LBR, as so many players brought double Targon lineups, and if you had Twiz, you just left your opponent's Targon up.
Yep.
So I got to say, I don't love its chances against Gohard. I don't think it's necessarily unfavored, but it's not as much of a stomp as you would want it to be.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why we've seen Twiz win so much, is because generally speaking, it's been up against Targon decks, right? And now we're seeing it go up against decks where it seems like it's less favored. Wow, Jesus, couldn't think of the word there. I think yours froze, by the way. And I'm just trying to give you a heads up, man. Just trying to be a nice guy.
I appreciate it.
Elise, though, early on is definitely going to help for another hipster. Just going to get some early aggression there. And, yeah, I mean, so now I'm trying to think of how does the go hard match go with Twiz? And, honestly, there is Ruination that I think is probably going to be the biggest thing that another hipster can utilize to just straight up clear the elusive board of Gavone. If there's no Ruination, I don't know. I still feel like I'm liking the Twiz deck a decent amount. There are Zap Spray Fins, though, for another hipster that do offer up some additional elusive blockers as well.
I think the key card for Gavone is going to be this suit up.
Yeah, suit up could be a big deal as well. And then, I mean, hey, just saying, the dude in the cowboy hat is chilling in hand ×2 there. I mean, that's a pretty impactful guy, pretty impactful cowboy hat last time I checked. So he might have something to do with this game. We do currently have a rummage. No other real way to go ahead and level up this TF yet. Suit up could even be played on the TF at some point as well. And now I froze, so I'm going to go ahead and get back in.
Did you freeze?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I froze too then.
All right, so we're going to get back into another hipster here. It's always like when the game starts for some reason.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're pros at refreshing the game at this point. It's cool. It ain't no
So
thing.
it's a little awkward for Gavone. Like, the TF does look appealing, but there is still Keg Go Hard in Hipster's hand, which is probably going to be the prime way that you're going to be able to remove that Twisted Fate.
All right, yeah, and there's the zap I was talking about as well. So already actually being the first one to get an elusive down. But here is the gold card almost instantly. All right, no, it's because it's speeding up. But here's the gold card onto the zap spray fin. And also the Mystic Shot to prevent the Glimpse Beyond. So really prioritizing preventing that draw out of another hipster. And I do like that prioritization because at the end of the day, the more that the Go Hard deck draws, the quicker it's going to get something like Pack Your Bags off. And honestly, Pack Your Bags, I said Ruination. What am I talking about? Pack Your Bags completely destroys a wide field of Burblefish and Fizz and etc. And Fizz can't prevent Pack Your Bags. It's an AoE effect.
No. Worth noting, though, that there is no Ruination in Hipster's list. And Pack Your Bags is not an effective answer to a Mind Meld.
Yeah, because it's slow. Mm-hmm. Withering Whale.
So it's going to go off after the Mind Meld.
Is there Withering Whale in another hipster's list?
Yeah, there's two
Okay.
whales. All right, I think that Gavone is on to the idea that there's probably a Go Hard coming out of Hipster relatively soon. I need to hold up the 4 mana for this suit up. But that does significantly slow down the level up process of the Twisted Fate. And I'm wondering if we're just going to let this one die and then play another TF later. But no, we are going to hang on to this 4/2 TF with the suit up. And at the moment, that might have to be a vengeance committed relatively soon for Hipster.
If by relatively soon you mean basically right now, then yes. Because if we don't commit it this turn, then I would put money on Twisted Fate leveling up next turn. We have 2 pick your cards in hand and a rummage.
So one thing about this suit up is it does mean that at the moment, another Hipster's gold cards have their sights set on the Twisted Fate.
And it looks like he has read your mind, Boulevard. And unfortunately for Gavone, this Twisted Fate is not long for this world. It doesn't look like there's a way to save it. We do have another Twisted Fate in hand, so there is that. Man, a Dreadway deckhand plus Twisted Fate would feel real good for Gavone right now. Just throwing that out there, but feels bad. No kegs in the Twiz deck, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so far, Gavone just has not been able to find the elusives that they need to try and put their foot on the gas early, while Hipster's kind of getting their setup going with all the draw cards and the go hards. And like you could TF blue card into pick a card here, and Hipster's going to be able to vengeance next turn, but there's a pretty high chance you're going to draw something that lets your TF level. The problem is you're already down to Twisted Fate at that point, and you would actually lose the iterative improvement that was fleeting, so instead just see all of that held back by Gavone.
Yeah, instead going to go ahead, maybe play the Ignition. We'll see in just a second. There's the other consideration now for Gavone. I mean, sure, Twiz probably levels Twisted Fate better than Go Hard decks at this point, but yeah, I would probably think about removing another Hipster's TF at this point too, especially when we're staring down a Glimpse Beyond and a Salvage that we can see in another Hipster's hand right now. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. If we don't commit the 4/2 Ballistic Bot as a blocker, we could trade it with something like the Elise, but it doesn't look like Gavone cares too much about that right now. Wants to save those Ignitions. They are decently important, especially for something like Rummage, if we do utilize that next turn, which is looking like with 2 Ballistic Bots, going to be a pretty prime Rummage.
Okay, I guess I get that. I was was trying to figure out why Gavone waited until post-combat to play the Ignition, because it would have opened up the second bot as a fearsome blocker for the Elise, but I think they were just trying to hold open Mystic Shot mana in case the Twisted Fate did go in.
Okay, Fizz coming down. So now, I'm actually, with the exception of Pack Your Bags and Ruination, I do think Fizz gets a lot done in this matchup.
I agree, and as we had mentioned earlier, no Ruination in the list for Hipster.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, sorry. Obviously, I wasn't listening to you as usual, so... but, yeah.
That's why I said it in a way that was smooth, like as we had mentioned earlier, you know, just a casual reminder that the audience wouldn't pick up on. But
tried.
There you go, Kool-Aid Manning down the fourth wall.
There's no fourth wall in these casts. Yeah, we're going to get the blue card now off the TF. Plenty of activators and... denies, if you want to call them that, for Fizz to prevent any targeted spells from doing anything, really. And this is going to mean Fizz is going to start creating Chum the Waters and also pushing through some elusive damage. I actually really underestimated, I think, what Fizz could do in this matchup. So we'll see if it's able to get enough work done. Doom Beast, though, in the hand of another Hipster, as well as a lot more draw to potentially level up this Twisted Fate. What is he on now? We're on... Oh, man, we level him up if we get both... or we actually don't have the mana for Glimpse Beyond and Salvage, so we're really close to leveling him up. I would like to see something like Mystic Shot come down onto TF this turn.
I think that Gavone's really trying to hang on to this Mystic Shot to prevent a Glimpse Beyond. Oh, this is such a weird spot for Gavone. You know, the double Doom Beast in Hipster's hand. One thing that we haven't gotten to mention a lot yet about this Twiz deck, because it hasn't come up too often, is the lack of healing that we like to talk about in a lot of Piltover and Zon and Noxus decks specifically. So that double Doom Beast is a lot of damage, and because Gavone isn't thrilled about the idea of using a lot of these units as blockers, you'd like to hang on to the bots and the TF, and I think that's one of the reasons that we fire off the Rummage now. We're willing to sacrifice the bots in combat, and Suit Up does give us a really good shot at keeping this TF leveled and alive, but I don't know.
I think that's why we're going in with it, too. I think we've just committed to playing the Suit Up this turn. Doesn't look like another Hipster's going to fall for it, though. Going to block the Ballistic Bot instead, and this does push a fair amount of damage. If we do go for the Suit Up onto the TF, we're pushing 7 damage now. Yep. And this does keep our TF out of the range of a lot of different things. Also heals up that damage that was just done with the Go Hard. I don't hate this because we don't win by sitting around. The longer that we wait, there's more of a chance for Pack Your Bags to come down, more of a chance for things to just go wrong. I do like this, and we could potentially set up lethal, I think, on the next attack turn of Gavone.
Did I just hear you say that you like a play that leaves Hipsters 3 out of 8 Twisted Fate alive?
I still think we should have possibly put the Mystic Shot, but we don't have enough mana to actually level the Twisted Fate this turn. We do, however, have enough burst speed spells to level it next turn.
I do not totally understand why we glimpsed in combat instead of just killing Gavone's Pool Shark and then glimpsing.
What do you gain by not having Pool Shark die? I think the answer to that question is nothing.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. God, I'll be so happy, Boulevard, if we've gone through this whole day and we're in the top 16, and now, finally, we see a Chum the Waters win the game. I'll be so excited.
So this is going to be a leveled Twisted Fate, and there's 2 Burble Fish along with 2 Doom Beast in the hand of Hipster. This is bad. I mean, we have to get excited to remove the TF, and it doesn't really mean as much because we leveled the Twisted Fate at burst speed. It means we're guaranteed to at least get a blue card.
But only getting a blue card feels a lot better than having to deal with a red card and a gold card, which right now is going to kill your Twisted Fate if we do get up to a gold card.
And we are just shy of being able to gold card.
Do you drain life? Do you absorb soul here? Like, I guess.
I mean, it red cards. You might as well red card.
You get rid of the Pool Shark.
You actually line up a kill onto the TF if you pick up a Go Hard.
Oh, wow. We're actually Okay, I'm actually very surprised we didn't. I mean, I don't see any benefit of holding on to the additional mana right now. I guess, how many go hards are we at?
Oh, no. That's 3 Doom Beast in the hand of Hipster. That is a lot of additional reach.
And again, no heal.
On Mark of the Isle.
Wow.
Just more and more damage coming out of Hipster by the second. I think that if one of these Burblefish goes unblocked and gets bumped by... I'm seeing the writing on the wall, and I'm looking into the future, and I am watching a Mystic Shot line up onto a Burblefish, and then a Mark of the Isle coming down, and
that feels bad.
That would mean that triple Doom Beast would be lethal next turn for Hipster.
I guess the question is, can Gavone set up lethal before that happens? And I think the answer is no. You think it might be? I'm just now realizing too. Twisted Fate is at Twisted Fate levels next turn with pick a card.
Yeah, but I think that you probably need to develop your Zap this turn, or at the very least, double iterative a Burblefish.
So let's see. That's gonna put down to 6. Yeah, all 3 Doom Beast is gonna be lethal.
And I think the really big problem for Gavone here is that one of the Doom Beast comes down this turn and puts Hipster at 13.
Yeah. Man, all these extra Doom Beasts are gonna do work. I don't know if Burblefish putting another one in hand is gonna be enough. I mean, this does remove essentially all blockers. So we basically have a finite amount of actions that Gavone can take. 1 Doom Beast is gonna come down this turn. We're only gonna have 1 action we can take before another Doom Beast comes down, and then threatens the 3rd one being lethal. We can get Burblefish down this turn, which is going to be good. We can actually iterative improvement on another Burblefish, so that's going to be, that's 4, 8. I mean, we set up a fair amount of damage. Are we 1 off? Are we 2 Burblefish and a Zap and we're 1 off?
There's still the Absorb Soul in Hipster's hand as well. He's effectively 18 life right now.
Never mind, I take that back.
And that feels like entirely too much for Gavone, unless we top deck Mind Melt.
Is there Mind Melt? Oh, okay. You got me all excited, Boulevard.
That's the point, right? Is that I say it in an exciting way and then everybody gets excited. It's good casting.
Oh man. Yeah, that would have been pretty nice if we had a Mind Melt off the top, but unfortunately, it looks like we're only going to be able to push 8 here. We can definitely level up the TF, but we know that 2 Doom Beast in hand is just going to be lethal for another Hipster. And I don't see a way around this. If there's anything Zap can pull, the only way around this would be somehow making another copy of Burblefish. Oh no, never mind. We can't get Absorb Soul because we're not in Shadow Isles. So that's not going to be a way out of this, unfortunately.
I feel like there were lines where Gavone won this game, but it probably would have required the knowledge that there were multiple Doom Beast in Hipster's hand.
Yeah.
Because it would have required pick a carding last turn, leveling your Twisted Face, and then iterative improvementing the Doom Beasts to keep yourself healthy.
All right, and unfortunately for Gavone, another Hipster going to go ahead and take him down there. Now, again, any X and 1s throughout this top 32, because it is sort of kind of being treated like a Swiss round, although at the end of the day, the person who's 5-0 is the one that will get the invite. So essentially, just single a limb, not losing the game. But anybody who does manage to continue on and go 4-1 gets an invite to the second chance qualifier for the Road to SHURIMA Invitational. So there is still some stuff on the board there for Gavone. We'll see if he's able to at least finish X and 1 by the time this tournament ends. But another Hipster going to advance, so we'll see how far another Hipster can go. But as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.